We'll call to order the work session of January 28, 2013. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Did he get all the words right? Yes, he did.
I know it took us.
I cheated.
It took us about a year to get it right. So.
Okay, the first thing on the agenda today is the review of the 2013 January 10th regular meeting agenda. John, you want to go through the agenda with us?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. We'll start off with the election and approval of the 2013 chairman. This is done the first meeting of every year. We elect the chairman for the rest of this year. So that'll be the first item. Once that's done, if there's any changes, then we'll move around and then go on with the rest of the meeting. It's a normal process. The item public hearing, it was for a transfer of a liquor license. We found out that is not being transferred, and so Randy's talked with the state that they said that to go ahead and cancel that public hearing. So we're going to go ahead and cancel it. He's posted a notice on the front door, so we'll be pulling the public hearing off the agenda. I guess the sale of that license was stopped, and so I don't think by the state. I think it just didn't go through, so that will no longer be on the agenda. Then we'll go into the expenditure listing, which is rather large.
John, before we go on, don't we do the Open Meetings Act?
That is a resolution. That'll be a resolution down.
Okay.
Item T under resolutions it's the first resolution we do, 13-01. Every year we do that. So we have for the expenditure listing, it is $4,048,544.84. Some of the major expenditures is the indigent fund was $1,203 was a payment to it. In construction, we had a payment of $1,203.64 for our construction of the conference center to that vendor. And then the remainder is just normal expenditures with our payroll and the time frame because of only having the one meetings because of the Christmas holidays. But those are the two major expenditures that bring it up to that $4 million. Is you have $2.5 million in between those two expenditures. And for Ron, on page 45, if you look in this packet there, page 45 of 47, that'll show you what I'm looking at. And you have to go over this one with you. There you go, right in there. So what this is the way this report's done for you. Okay, that's the start. We list out every check that we've cut by check number here, and if you go back towards the back around starting on page 41 of 47, the other direction, you'll see it broken out by fund, and so it takes all of the checks that we've cut and starts to break it out right here. So this starts to summarize it by fund. You'll see 401, and these are all the different accounts in 401 and how much money. And then you go into 402, Fund 402, Fund 405, 406. So if you turn to page 45, a couple pages back here, one more page back, you'll see here's the big indigent fund for $1,203,000, and then this is the construction for the $1,203,000.
Okay.
And that's on the conference center construction.
Thank you.
So, and what this is is, and then behind that is our payroll checks. So what this does is each meeting we give you all of the checks that were cut to us. In case you guys have any questions, anything, the checks as they're cut are automatically signed by the chairman's signature in the system, because it would be too much of a burden on you guys to ask you to come into a public meeting every time to approve every single one of these checks. So, did you really? Every check? Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're still signed, just electronically as they come out. Still stand by the clerk, every check. Next item under new business will be the sheriff is going to recognize the DARE program essay winners. Did I miss some? He does this every year since we started the DARE program back up. Who's the electric man over here? He has a contest. He brings in his essay winners. Last year there were 3. Is there 3 again this year? And so what he'll do is bring them in. We had, last year, I think we had the top winners read their essays. The top person who won read their essay to the commission so you could hear what their essay was about there. And they receive, do they receive a scholarship? So we will have that as the first part of new business so that those students can get back to school because they anxiously await getting back there to learn. So I always try to get them in and out so they can go back. The next item is the volunteer fire department elections results. The commission is responsible for approving the election of the officers. There's one that I need to speak with Abby on. I haven't talked with her. I received a phone call yesterday from one of our departments that asked us to look into something with the election results. So I'll speak with Abby on that after the meeting today, and we'll let you know. Because my understanding is the commission has to approve them, but you don't have to. If you don't agree with one of the election results, I think you can vote against accepting those results. I'll have to look at it. That's what I want to verify, because we've had some concerns brought by one of the departments that they feel that the results will not represent the department well, I guess, to put it politically correct. So I'll speak with Abby on it. I have not talked with her yet after I received that phone call yesterday.
There was members from the group that came forward.
Yes, it was members of that department that came forward. They're actually fire department members, and they came forward with concerns about their officers that will be taking over the department, concerns on the welfare of the department.
The process or what?
No, they had some questions on the process, and they had some questions on the individuals themselves.
Do we have an executive session set for today?
No, we do not. So, and I don't know if we can because they're not our employees.
But we appoint.
So, no, you don't appoint, you approve their election results. They're not an employee because they're volunteers, so I don't know if it would qualify. We'd have to look. Yeah.
Well, then you're gonna have to figure that out then.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, and what I'll do is I'll talk with Abby. We'll look at it before Thursday's meeting, and we'll update you all. I'll speak with all of you.
Yeah, please do that.
I'll speak with all of you to let you know what we found out on that.
I think it's real important.
Because like I said, I have not discussed any with Abby yet for her to know any of the information that I know. I just received a call yesterday afternoon at the end of the day, and so I need to look into it.
Okay, look into it and get back to us.
The next item, H, is the EMS annual service report applications. This is every year our EMS departments, the Gila Regional EMS, Gila Valley, Members Valley, Pinos Altos, and Tyrone submit for their funding for the next year to have their EMS personnel recognized by the state. It's a requirement that the commission approve these applications. and sign off on them before they go up to the state. So that's why they're in front of you for approval and review. And that's all it is they get separate funding from within the fire department, even though they're part of the fire department, and specifically for the EMS activities, because the state fire funds that they get for the fire departments can't be used for training EMS personnel. It has to be these funds that are used for that training, that people go for different types of classes and refreshers. The next item is addition of policy 55 to the Grant County Sheriff's Department standard operating procedures. This is dealing with mobile display terminals. The sheriff's here. I don't know if you want to discuss about your policy.
Pretty much what this policy entails is we're going to be installing, actually they're already installed, computers in our police cars. What it is it gives the officers the capability of doing their reports. They'll have the CAD system. We'll be running wireless cards in these computers where they'll be able to stay out in the county, in the residential areas, and do reports out there instead of having to be coming into the office. What this policy does, it just sets the guidelines, the rules on what they can and can't do in these computers. Just wanted to make sure that that was in place before there's any misuse or they do things that they're not supposed to do on the computers. That's really all it is.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. We could downsize him in the building.
You haven't got a chance yet.
Always be careful.
We can downsize him. I'm right there with you. So, and the reason why this policy's here is because we've never had these terminals in, so we've never had a policy. So it's a brand new policy that the sheriff's putting forward. Hopefully it'll work very well. The one thing I want to give these sheriffs, those computers we had bought before through Gilbert that we never really used, I wanted to see if maybe we could get those, and maybe for the mining district, maybe their officers could utilize those, since we now have replaced them with these.
It's good to see you keeping up with it. It all works out pretty fast.
So we'll look at those, maybe see if we can get with Gilbert, see if we can reassign those, since we're not going to need them. The next item is the approved, disapproved county official committee designations for 2013. This is our list of committees we're on. What we've got right now is Anthony Gutierrez is on the Southwest Council of Governments as an alternate for me. He's on the Regional Dispatch as an alternate for me, and he's on the Gila San Francisco Water Commission. Chairman Caston is on the Water Commission as an alternate for Anthony. He's on the Grant County Regional Dispatch Board as an alternate for Commissioner Hall. And he's on the Grant County Extension and the Southwest Solid Waste Authority. Commissioner Ramos is on the Southwest RTD, the Southwest Council of Governments, and Justin Reese as an alternate, and the New Mexico Association of County Workman Comp Insurance voting member alternate. Grant County Regional Dispatch Board is Commissioner Hall. He's also on the Silver City Public Library Board, and then the Chief Elected Officials Workforce and Investment Act Board. That was a board that Commissioner Ramos was on last year, and we're just going to move it around, give him a break.
It really is a tough one to get to, because they usually have their meetings when we have ours. So I've probably made 3 meetings in 2 years because of that.
So,
But
I'll get together with you and discuss
yes, sir.
what's going on.
Yes, sir.
so we thought we would move that around, since that's when you got to travel outside of here. Usually Donna Ana or Luna County is where
Thank
they
you,
have
sir.
it.
And Sierra.
Do they have them in Sierra?
That's not bad.
And then, I am on the Southwest Council of Governments with Anthony as my alternate, the Grant County Regional Dispatch with Anthony as my alternate, Southwest Solid Waste Authority, Southwest Regional Transit District as the alternate to Commissioner Ramos, the New Mexico Association of Counties Multi-Line Insurance Board, and the New Mexico Association of County Workman Comp Insurance voting member.
I think you're also on, okay.
We also have the Southwest Commissioner Alliance.
Oh, that's right. I didn't add that one. That was a new one from last year. That's Commissioner Ramos's.
In our reality, we all belong to it, so
Yeah.
those meetings that come up, it's nice to have everyone there if possible.
Yeah, but I think that's, we decided when we started that one member would travel. You're the traveling member. So I'll put that under your boards, but then put as alternates, Commissioner Caston and Commissioner Hall, so that they're showing that that's under them as well. And then Abby Robinson, we had her last year, subdivision review committee and the ETJ commission. That if there's any need, she's not a member, she just attends those meetings if she's needed to. Yeah. And those are just meetings that happen if there's a subdivision and if the ETJ ever gets off the ground. So I think that's it for the boards.
Any questions on those?
We had discussed maybe switching over the water commission between you and I. The last round, were you still interested in swapping over
Oh
something?
yeah, we didn't have that one on there.
Oh,
The water commission.
yeah. No, that was,
I know it's not on there, but I saw the
you
the
were
San Francisco
my
Water Commission.
alternate.
Yes, I was the alternate, that's right.
So,
I'm not stay as the alternate, if that's what you
okay,
wish.
that's fine, whichever way you want to go.
And we can swap whatever you want.
Okay, we'll work on that. All right, and go to every other one or
So
so.
I'll add that one. It's nice to see that your list is still as good as mine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
An alternate, you want to go.
Mr. Chairman, do you think we should put it in a resolution? We've been doing this for a few years now. Looks like this is going to be our general practice. Should we just put it in a resolution?
I think because I was shooting the same way, I think that we need to do that so that we could also enter in that resolution stating that the people that are representing Grant County on these boards have the authority to make the decisions for
Probably
the
so.
county.
That sounds like a good idea. What if we limited that to voting members? For instance, if I went to a subdivision review committee meeting, I'm not going to,
Exactly.
have a vote or anything like that. So we could limit.
We
what
also
you're
have to make sure
suggesting
that the non-electeds are, when they attend as an alternate, they have to vote.
John?
So that's, we could approve this at this meeting, and then you can have a resolution to approve for February.
Or do you want a resolution Thursday? Can you do it?
It's going to be very simple, I think.
Oh, we'll just move this from new business to resolution.
This one I think will be easy.
So we'll move our departments, J, we'll move it down into the resolution section for Thursday's meeting, and it'll be a resolution that you'll approve.
And remember, on the regional dispatch authority, they require a letter stating who the member and the alternate for each member is.
Well, we might be able to just send them that resolution, and then it would
Probably suffice.
Give it.
that would give them all the information. Okay, so I'll add
One
those
question
couple
on
boards.
the transportation, on the transit district. How's that working now that how are you guys using that district?
Well, there's some confusion right now, and I know that John's been talking a lot with Mike Morones.
Yes.
And we're trying to figure out where we're going to stand. I think John has pretty much let him know how it is, but now that the county is taking it over. But I know that there's people on board that still want a little more authority over Go de Caminos, and it's not like that anymore. We've introduced we've introduced it to the transit district members that we really need to start concentrating on all transit avenues within our region, not just Go de Caminos. And we've introduced that to them. It seems like they were really for it, but I know they're having trouble losing the authority over the Go de Caminos. And I think we just need to, keep moving the way we are and let him give them the information that they need, but let him know that we are on our own when it comes to Go de Caminos.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to have the director come sometime and give us a good detailed report on what's going on, in particular the on-demand service for the elderly, because I've gotten a couple of complaints that we're not getting to them when they need to be gotten to, and that's usually for doctor's appointments and such when they're homebound.
And
Rural.
And
Yeah.
another thing I'd really like to see is not really marketing for Go de Caminos, but
to rent out the spots that we've got available for marketing for other businesses.
On the bus?
On the bus and also the different stations.
What is the policy on that? That would be an interesting, because, you know, I know that some people that have bought ads on the side of buses, they're falling off, they're worn out, they look tacky on the bus, not only for the county Corey Camillos, but also for the person who bought the ad. Maybe that ad only needs to be purchased for a certain period of time, whatever the life cycle
They used to
of
be
that.
1 year.
Was that what they were?
Yeah,
Then they
that's
need to
why.
be taken off and something new put on, because they're really looking tacky, a few of them.
No, and we talked about when it was, we haven't talked about it since we got it back. We've got to look at it now, but when it was under the Southwest RTD, we had had many discussions about even maybe looking at doing the vinyl wraps like they're doing now, and that's how the advertising is sold, and then you do a new wrap every year or something on the bus, because that's kind of what it's going to. When you go to the bigger cities, the entire bus is like a moving billboard.
The only thing is that some of our buses are so old, I don't know how long they're going to be out on the road.
Well, we're looking at replacing some, but yes. Yeah.
Well,
We've got 4 new ones coming.
If they're in your replacement cycle for the next year,
Then
don't put advertisement on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just some common sense there.
Now that we're back over it, we'll take a look at the advertising policy they had and revamp that and bring it to the commission so that those get cycled out more. Or if somebody buys it for a longer time, there's concessions in there to change the sign out every so many months that as part of the advertising. You have to buy a new sign every 6 months or
And
something.
we probably ought to put out to bid for a vendor that will wrap those buses, so we know what we're
Yeah,
looking
I
at
know
and have
there's-
that on a...
Yeah, because I know there's one in Cruces, but I haven't looked into it, but we'll...
And I would like to see some local people. I'm sure there's somebody here in Deming or they can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because that would be the way to go, because then you don't paint the bus. You've wrapped it, it looks like a brand new paint job on it every year. And it actually saves the finish underneath.
It does.
And that's why we started talking about it. We had a couple of buses that needed painting when we were at the Southwest RTD with them.
Do you think it would be appropriate to have the director come to our
Yes, she actually,
work sessions?
yeah, I didn't touch base with her before this one. In the past, there's been a conflict. The last work session, she was going to come at the end of the year, and we moved that one around, and she had a doctor's appointment, but I'll talk with her and see if she can be here Thursday to give you an update. And then she'll start attending the meetings. We'll get her the schedule, and she'll start attending like the rest of the directors will. I just know that because we've barely taken over, we moved December so much, and because she's down in Deming, she had had some appointments that she had already set in that time frame, and so I told her, don't worry about it, take care of her appointments.
Take the bus.
And she
That's
does.
right. How's our center coming along? Or
They're currently doing the outside. The inside's done, painted. They're just doing the landscaping in the parking lot, getting the parking lot finished up, and then stucco in the front of the building. It's basically what's left of it. We should be on track for March,
So we paid
April.
for about half of it. I hope about half of it's done.
Yeah. March or April, we should be done. We're on time.
I was told the depot's like 85% done.
Yeah, it's just the outside. Yeah, the inside of the depot is done. Mr. Reese has got some paint to match the inside of the paint on the depot to paint the inside of the conference center, the same color. So he's working on that right now. But, yeah, the depot's done except for the outside, and then they're doing the parking lot now, so that was the last piece they were gonna do, is work on that parking lot. They wanted to get all the other construction done. So they're getting down to the final wire of buttoning it up and getting it turned loose.
Now, as far as the RTD, one more question. We currently do not have, what's our agreement to even have the RTD? Do we have a joint powers agreement?
There is a joint powers agreement in place. There's currently one in place, and that's what we've got to work on, is we've got to work on if we rewrite the joint powers or if it becomes some other type of agreement. It's probably going to have to be a JPA because they're going to have to give us money. And so whenever money's transferred, you use the JPA. But
I would encourage us to, instead of have one member, since we have all the cards in and other people don't, that we should probably have at least 2 members on that commission when the new joint powers agreement is done.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, the way it was originally set up is Grant County carries 2 votes in, Silver City carries 2 votes in, Deming carries 2 votes, and Luna County carries 2 votes, and then Lordsburg, Hidalgo, and Columbus each carry 1 vote to the table.
Okay.
Well, no, Columbus doesn't carry a vote anymore, I don't think. I think it's their vote is through Deming and Luna County. The way it's currently structured, and that's kind of what we've got to sit down, I've got to sit down with Abby and got to talk about is,
Well,
they could have a JPA that governs
if we
them.
have 2 votes, we only have 1 member.
That 1 member counts as 2 votes.
Oh, okay.
So the way the JPA is structured, Gabe counts as 2 votes and the town of Silver City counts as 2, so they have 4 votes compared to Hidalgo County and Lordsburg would be 2 votes together. And so you could overrule them in a vote. You would carry more weight in.
Unless they teamed up with Deming.
If they teamed up with Deming, that would be 3 votes. They'd have to team up with Luna County as well. Then they'd get 6 votes to our 4, so they could take control. But the RTD has no authority over how the buses are run now, and that's what Commissioner Ramos was talking about. So they can ask for something, but we have the ability to say, that's nice, but we can't do it. If you'd like to do it, it's going to cost you X number of dollars, then they have to go back to their members. And so that's what we're working on structuring. How do you structure that whole package? Because they don't have control over where we run our buses, how we run our buses, what routes we're running. If they want more, they can ask for them and pay more. If they say this route isn't working and we'd like to get rid of it, then we can go back and look at that. Or if we say this route isn't working and we're losing money, we need to get rid of it, or you need to come up with more money, then that RTD can come up with more money for us to continue to run, or else we'll cancel it all. So we do carry the power. They don't have any authority over the buses, and so I don't know that the JPA, having 2 people sit there, would help control the buses. It's more looking at regional transit, air service.
I can see where he's coming from, though, on voting, because I think we're still in a deficit there whenever it comes to.
Well, when you rewrite the joint powers agreement,
I guess, yeah, because right now, the way the joint powers agreement, it doesn't include a Hidalgo and Lordsburg, and so we would be a stalemate. We would be 4 votes from here and 4 votes from down there.
but they're still putting money in.
I think the big problem
They
is
put in 10,000, I think.
is that their little community over there, or their little township is involved, and we need to get our little townships involved also, and try and get.
Well, I just think we need to structure it so that we have the control of the buses.
I totally agree.
I mean, and then the votes is
Why hasn't Baird and Hurley and Santa Clara ever participated in it? Because they have a lot of residents that use it.
When the Southwest Regional Transit District was started, it was started with the major groups of each, is how that came together. We had talked about bringing in Bayard and Santa Clara and Hurley, but they would have to bring some money, and they didn't want to do that. Columbus originally came to the table, but they were being funded by Luna County and Deming, paid for their bill. And so if Bayard was going to come in and didn't want to participate, then Grant County and Silver City would have had to come up with extra money so Bayard could participate in the RTD, and they just didn't want to. That's originally how it was set up. And that's.
But the RTD is not really what it once was. Basically, it is now a advisory board for us.
No, exactly, yes.
For total transportation.
Yeah, it's
So
totally
maybe
changed.
we need to completely revamp how this all works.
It's more of, yeah, and that's where it might, and what I was saying, it might not be a JPA, it might be, we have a contract with the Southwest RTD, and they have their own JPA that's separate from us, and we have a contract with them that says, we'll provide bus service for X number of dollars, and this is what you get.
and they are strictly advisory. That's it.
And they can tell us what routes they would like to see us run, and we can decide whether or not.
So have we thrown enough things out there for you, Abby?
And this is one that Abby hasn't looked at, because when it was the Southwest RTD, Abby never looked at it at all the different agreements and things, because she's not the attorney for the Southwest RTD, she's an attorney for Grant County. And so that's why she's never looked at any of these documents, and we haven't had these conversations, that now we have to go back and I have to sit with her that we own the buses again and say, okay, how do the buses work with the RTD if they're a totally separate entity, and we write our agreements for Grant County?
Well, come up with a structure that you think will work for us, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, we'll try and get something for February. We'll have to sit down and look at it, because it is as Gabe said, it's confusing, that Southwest RTD board, and we're all going back and forth on how does this thing look now, because they're not going to tell us how we run our system. They're advisory, and I keep getting that, telling them, and they don't get it through their head.
You need to put that in writing.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's move on.
So, the next item, K, is the funding application for the Grant County DWI program. This is, each year Cindy asks for her funding for the program. This year, the total grant request is $91,000. It's $62,000 for prevention and $29,000 for treatment. And then from the distribution amounts, she's asking for $161,000, which is $55,925 for prevention, $17,000 for law enforcement, compliance of $48,807, and then coordination, planning, and evaluation of $39,318. So the total request is $252,652. Those are funds that come from the state level that we're fiscal agent as well as administrators of that cost. None of this money comes from the general fund. The next item, L, is the statement of assurances that go along with the application process. And this is just the statement that says we will comply by the rules and guidelines associated with the acceptance and use of the funds under the New Mexico Local DWI Grant and Distribution Program. This is something that we have to do each year to get those funds, and that's all it's doing, is saying that Cindy will follow the rules and regulations of that program and spend the money as it's intended for the prevention of DWI. The next item, M, is approval of an intergovernmental transfer of a 95 Ford Bronco from the Road Department of Western New Mexico University. What this is the university has come to us, they've gotten a grant to study the effects of the Whitewater Baldy complex fire that happened, and see what the effects are on the watersheds and everything out there. They are in need of a four-wheel drive vehicle to get back into that rougher area. They don't have any available at theirs. At the road department, we have this 95 Ford Bronco that was being used by Jody, and she's now switched into a vehicle, and so this is just an extra piece of equipment that's not really suited for long distance. We're just maintaining, it's a 95 vehicle, so it's something that we thought we could transfer over to Western New Mexico University so that they could utilize it to do those studies on that grant that they've received. Because it is an intergovernmental transfer, we're not required to charge fair market value for it, so the commission can tell us if they want. Typically on these, we've gotten squad cars from state police for $1 in the past. University's got stuff for $1 in the past. So that's typically what you do. So you've gotten $1 for it. It's more of a goodwill to help out a fellow agency in the community with a need, and we have a surplus of the vehicle. So that's typically.
Do they reciprocate from time to time with things?
To be politically correct, the new president hasn't had an opportunity to yet, but he's working with us more than the former administration of the university. So I think that we will see that.
So this is your olive branch to see if that'll start?
We're extending the olive branch out to show that we wish to work together with them as good neighbors, good partners in the community, because it will better the whole community. And so that's kind of where we're at. We haven't had an opportunity right now where we've asked the university for something. There are groups in the community that...
Now, this request actually came from Ms. Baca. So does the president even know that this is happening?
Yes, he does. Yeah, I've had discussions with him. The request came from Ms. Baca because she's the Director of Materials and Resource Management that's responsible for the fleet and things like that.
Anybody have any questions on this?
But I think that the president has stuck out his hand to offer help to the community as a whole.
Yes.
Both the county, the city, and other entities in the county. And I think that he is coming forward to be a good partner to the community and sharing in our ideas, and also ask that we do the same.
Yeah, no, and I guess I should retract my statement that he hasn't had an opportunity to. When we were putting in our application, when Randy was working on it to try and bring the New Mexico Association of Counties Conference down here, the university, the president had his chief of staff, Julie Miller, let Randy know that Julie Morales, to put into the response that they would let us use all of their meeting space for free, and they would let us use their dormitories for free at no cost. So he has already done that. So I guess I should retract that he hasn't. He's already offered that, which that's a great deal, because that was about 150 rooms for free that he would allow us to use there. So all they had to do was bring linen. So he is trying to work with us to bring other events in and help out in the community.
Okay, good. Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right.
Under contracts and agreements, the first item is a termination of agreement A1251, professional service agreement with Daniel Ziegler for the services for juvenile probation office. This is just a termination because Mr. Ziegler has resigned his position there doing that surveillance under that grant. This is that restorative justice grant we got on behalf of the district court working in the Tri-County area. And the commission, as the fiscal agent, has to approve all the contracts, and so that's why this comes back in front of you for the approval of the termination of the contract, because it has to be mutually agreed upon to terminate. And I don't see any issues why we shouldn't terminate it. He did a good job while he was there. He just chose that he needs to go on and do something else. The next item, A1301, professional service agreement with Yolanda Manzano for service in juvenile probation and parole office for $13,440. This is starting the new year of those agreements. We've got an extension on that current RFP that is there to go on for I think about 6 months more till they can get the new RFP out and get funding into this program again. They wish to continue it on. It's just taking a while at the state level. So what they've been doing is extending agreements to us to add more funds to the current RFP, the end of the RFP that we had. So this will be for the same services she was providing before. The circle facilitator, it's approximately 16 hours per week at $35 an hour for 24 weeks to come up to that $13,440. She's been doing this, I think, since they started the program 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago now, and does a great job. The next is the same for Mr. Compton for $13,440. It's the same, 16 hours per week, $35 per hour at 24 weeks for the family circles as part of that restorative justice model. It's just spending that additional monies that were given down to us while they can go forward with the RFP. And as the fiscal agent, the commission has to approve that agreement. And then the next one is for an Alexander Buck, and it is for $4,105, and this is for the surveillance. This is for the monies that the commission gives to The commission sets aside out of the general fund the monies for the ankle bracelet program and the surveillance. They had an individual leave, and they brought Mr. Buck in, and because of it was a short notice and they needed to get him out there and working, I went ahead and entered into this agreement with JPPO, Mr. Buck, so that we could get that program continuing while we waited for commission meetings because of the time frame we were in. And so we're bringing this in front of the commission for ratification of that agreement.
I don't know why we don't do that with all these. Just ratify them after you've agreed to them. I mean, something to look at. I mean, we take up a substantial amount of time approving agreements that we're just...
Is there something mandatory that makes us have to go through it?
No, you can always designate, well, not always, but in this situation, you could delegate the authority to John to sign them.
And then we could just do them as a consent
You can
agenda.
still put them on the agenda, because they're the same form every time.
Yeah.
I don't even review them anymore because they do them the same every time. I feel confident.
And we do them about 15 times a year. It seems like. They back it out, they add money, they take away money.
Let's just do that, then we'll do whatever we need to do for a resolution to put those, give him the authority, and then just put them on the agenda as a consent.
Yeah.
So we'll be aware, but...
Should we just...
We do it February,
I was going to say the next time, because we've already got these on here.
No, that's fine.
So we just do it the next time.
for February
Maybe
weekend.
we should talk with them too, and just make sure there isn't something that we don't know about, some
No.
requirement that they have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think it's our requirement, because there's times that I've had to ratify a couple because they have to get people going and can't wait for the commission to meet. And so I've went ahead and signed on them, sent them back, or those agreements will come down for the extension, and they've got to have them back up before we can have a
Makes sense.
commission meeting.
The clerk says it makes a lot of sense. And I agree with the clerk.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So, that way, we'll take a look at that for the meeting in February, to have something for you. The next one is the cooperative agreement and assurances with New Mexico Department of Health for the Grant County DWI program funding application. This is the third step in getting DWI funding, third of 5 steps. And this is just saying that we'll comply with the Department of Health's requirement, because the HIPAA regulations are bound by what Cindy does is bound by the HIPAA regulations, so that she can't release information on her clients and has to provide confidentiality. So she's saying that she will follow all those requirements as she goes through and spends the DWI funds and does her program. The next item is a memorandum of understanding with New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration for the Grant County DWI program funding application. Part 4 of 5, this is just with the Department of Finance Administration, because they are the holders of the money up there, that you will comply with all of their regulations. We'll make sure that we're complying with Department of Health's regulations, with purchasing requirements, and all the state statutes that govern the use of the DWI funds as Cindy goes forward with her programs. And if we don't send one of these pieces, they don't give her any money. You gotta have all 5 to get the funding. Next item is resolutions. First item is approve, disapprove resolution 13-01, open meetings resolution for 2013. This is the resolution that sets our meeting times. It sets how we advertise for our meetings, how we advertise for a special meeting, how we advertise for an emergency meeting, what is a special meeting, what's an emergency meeting, where those advertisements will be. It sets the cutoff time for people to get items onto the agenda, which is Wednesday prior to the meeting week. So we require people to get us stuff Wednesday, and Randy and I were talking the other day, we're going to try, and we've always been kind of lenient on that and been adding stuff, and what it's caused us to do is get to where we get you guys your agenda packets right as you're coming into this meeting. And so we're going to try and hold firm to that Wednesday, so we can try and get you guys the stuff by Friday, so you'll have the weekend to look at it. You'll start to get your packets. We're going to try and make them electronic again like we used to do, where we'll email you a PDF file on Friday so that you'll have that, and you can start looking at it and start asking questions.
I would prefer that. I think a county emergency, something that needs to be done for the good of the county, can be put on right up until the deadline that it can. But outside emergencies are not our emergency.
So, yeah, so that's what we're gonna look at, and some of the stuff, that we add on here, and it could change with that resolution we do in February. It's one thing we'll have to look at is, there'll be times when we're fiscal agent for these outside agencies that they'll walk into Randy this morning and say, I just got this contract in the mail and I need the commission to approve it because it has to be back to them by January 31st, and the commission's not going to meet again. And then we'll start scrambling and changing and throw that on the agenda. I have an item to add on the agenda today when we get to the end of it that's an agreement we've been working on. So we've done that, and so that might be something we consider with that resolution. By ratifying, I can approve the agreement, and then we come back at the next meeting and you're ratifying all those agreements, and then it stops us adding all the way up until the meeting, and it makes it easier for the commission to get their packets earlier. So that's one thing that Randy and I talked about yesterday, trying to hold fast to, because he hasn't been able to do it, because I've been guilty of it, going out to him all the way up until the meeting, going, here, hey, change your numbers again. So he's just gotten in the habit of making his books on Monday morning, because he was changing them 5-6 times by the time the meeting
And
started.
that actually kind of brings up a question I did have. Are we ever going to start using our iPads?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do, is we're going to start with the electronic version. Hopefully for the February meeting, we'll send you a PDF file and you'll be able to look at it on there. And then I spoke with Commissioner Caston about, we're going to look at, we had talked last year about having a big screen for the audience, and we've been working with this link, Apple TV, where we can have monitors here for you and then control those monitors with one computer and the monitors for the public, so we can just scroll through the agenda items for you. And so you'll be able to look at them there, as well as on your iPad, but it'll make it easier to make sure everybody's on the same page, on the same track.
No more sneaking ahead.
Yeah. And then it also let the public be on track with where we're at with a couple large monitors, as well as the electeds and the directors would be able to see them. So we've talked about putting them kind of in this little cutout here, so that they'll be able to see where we're at, what the agenda item is.
That's almost one ring of paper right there.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, I understand that it's important that we make things convenient for the commission, but the main thing is that we stay within the bounds of the Open Meetings Act. And
Yes.
Abby, hoping you're watching and watching us and making sure we do that, because that's very important, the Open Meetings Act.
Of course.
So,
She carries a big ruler.
I know, it's a small, but it's a big ruler. I just want to clarify that it sounded like that we were working just so it'd be convenient for the commissioners. Well, that's fine, but we still got to stay within the...
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what we do is, even if we go to the electronic meeting packets, we cannot add anything to the agenda within 24 hours of the meeting. So it has to be prior to 24 hours of the meeting. We can make amendments to the agenda. We can remove anything from the agenda all the way up until the meeting time.
Yeah.
We just cannot add action items to the agenda. So...
It was just a clarification.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing we try and make sure, because we're not trying to hide anything, and this commission isn't trying to hide anything. And with going to these electronic, it'll be one more step to be more open, because we don't give a packet to everybody out in the audience, and it'll let them follow along to the agendas and everything else.
Well, I think it's great. I really do.
So, we just have to do it.
I just have to catch up on my electronics. You guys, you're going to have another class to do, John.
Yeah.
okay, let's go on.
So I don't know if you want any changes. You want to keep the meetings the same as we've been?
I think it's fine.
I like to see me.
I mean, we tried having the evening meetings and no one ever really showed up to those, so it seems like we have more participation during the day.
And then we just ended up paying a lot of overtime for all the staff to stay after hours, so.
Okay. So then we'll just give this to you as we have it. The next item is authorization of the fifth and final piece of the DWI application is authorization of the county to submit an application to the Department of Finance Administration to participate in the local DWI grant distribution program. You have to have a resolution that authorizes you to submit for the FY14 funds. So that's the fifth piece of getting DWI funding. So that one will be there. And then the next item is the infrastructure capital improvements 2014 to 2018. I'll let Anthony go ahead and talk about, we've had some amendments to it since we originally brought it in front of the commission. Some of the amendments are required because of the state kind of changed the way they look at the ICIP right at the end on everybody, so it wasn't just us, it was counties, municipalities throughout the state have been scrambling to redo their ICIP to meet the state requirements. So I'll let Anthony go ahead and tell you what he's got.
Most of the amendments came because they actually want your ICIP to be project-oriented. In the past, we've kind of left our project a little bit vague so that we could pretty much do whatever we needed to do. Now they want them project-specific. They want some good estimates, along with it. They want all of the monies that the entities are currently investing in those, any other funding agencies that might be looking at. So we've had to really adjust and put a lot more information into the ICIP. And also, they've also, one of the reasons why we had some amendments to the ICIP is that we had some requests after the ICIP was submitted for capital outlay projects. And so, in speaking with Priscilla from the Council of Governments and with Department of Finance, we found out that any capital outlay requests, for them to take them seriously, we would need to have them on our top 5 priority list. So we did some priorities. We added this building to make it our #1 priority, since we're going to borrow the monies for the fairgrounds. We went ahead and lowered it. We raised up Fort Baird economic development so that we could we put in a capital outlay request to do some enhancements to the theater. And so that's the gist of most of it. Most of the projects stayed the same. We just did some shuffling on priorities and put a lot more information into them. The description has to be right. They call you from DFA, tell you this is what you need. You need an exact location of the project. You do a lot of other things that we weren't actually adding to there. So that's pretty much an overview of what we did.
On #1, I know that we've gotten some estimates from the architects and stuff, and those numbers don't jive with these numbers. Is that something we need to update, or?
They should, Mr. Chairman.
Really? I thought that this total project was like in the 800,000.
The out years I don't have?
Yeah. You have the first year, that 500, but then there was
Do you not have a copy
2
of
and
this?
3.
Do you have a copy of it there in front of you?
I don't understand.
Well, you know, we can sit down and talk about it afterwards. We don't have to go over these numbers right now. I don't want to get down in the weeds, but I just noticed that. And
He's got a copy right there.
I have a copy here. We can always make an amendment. In future years, the 500,000, of course, would cover what we were requesting this year for capital outlay. We certainly can make an amendment. I know that last Friday they actually published these documents, so I'll call them and ask them what I need to do to make an amendment.
okay. All right. Well, I'll talk to you after the meeting then.
Okay.
Thank you. We're going to have indigent claims?
We'll have indigent claims is the next item. There's 538 claims totaling $411,507.46. Of those claims, 526 of them for $372,251.52 are sole community provider claims, and 12 claims totaling $39,255.94 are indigent claims. So that would be, those are how those are broke up.
Okay, any question on the indigent claims?
Yes, I was wondering, so can Sheriff John, if in fact for the Thursday meeting, there's been some question about the sole community provider and how that money comes about. if you could have someone here to explain to us, and then giving the citizens an opportunity to find out or have a better idea of where that money comes from.
Yeah.
Maybe Thursday's meeting, or is that too quick, or?
No, we've got to call in, Beth Allred from the hospital is the administrator of the indigent program. She's the one that's the most knowledgeable. She sat on a committee for us when they were trying to change sole community provider through the Association of Counties. Basically sat on the committee for representing all counties because of her knowledge. So I will try to see if Beth can come and talk with you, because she is the most knowledgeable. If Beth is unavailable for Thursday, we'll get her for the next meeting, and then for Thursday we'll have a little explanation on it, of the tax side of it, the piece that we know.
Understood.
But I'll see if I can get Beth, because Beth is the most knowledgeable.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem. I have one item that we'll add to the agenda, and this is, we've been working on this for a little bit with the Tyrone Volunteer Fire Department. We just got this agreement finished up, and the chief has signed off on it to bring in front of the commission. The residents of Burro Mountain Homestead, the chairman and I went out there and met with them they had a community meeting, and their concern is if there was a fire, they've got one way in, one way out, and it's a long time for apparatus to get to them, just because of where Burro Mountain Homestead is and the conditions to get out there. And so they've worked with the Tyrone Volunteer Fire Department that the Burro Mountain Homestead has come forward that they are going to build a 40 by 40 insulated building with 2 bay doors on it, 2 roll-up bay doors and 2 personal doors. They're going to split the building down the middle with a wall, and they're going to rent half of that building to Tyrone Volunteer Fire Department to store a brush truck in there for $1 a year. Plus half of the electricity and half of the propane cost for heating the building. And then they already have some members that live in that area that are part of the fire department. They've talked to the state of New Mexico, and they've approved it. So this was kind of the last piece, is drawn up the agreement. We put it together. Abby's reviewed it, made the changes that she recommended into it for the term of the agreement, and the chief has taken it back, and Burro Mountain is okay with it, so he signed off on it for the commission. If the commission approves, we'll take it for their final signature, and they'll start building the building. They've already gotten the Mueller building that they want to build. They've got the design of it, got the cost, and they're paying the full cost of construction.
Just out of curiosity, what are they going to use the other half for?
They have some storage needs for them, that some of the equipment, I guess, they use to maintain the grounds, different things like that. They want to get them out of a building they're using currently and move them into this one. And so that's why they're going to split it, so that they'll be able to use half for their storage of their maintenance equipment, and the other half will be ours. And I think what it'll be separated is by a chain link fence down the middle of it to the roof. So it'll be that way, but the heat will flow evenly through, so they don't have to have 2 heaters in it and everything. So, but it's a very generous offer of them to foot the entire building costs, and then all we'll do is and they have the apparatus to go out there. It'll be a brush truck that'll be stored out there.
And they do have the water storage already there, so...
Yes, they've got water, as well as they told us that in that building, part of the storage they're going to put in that building is they have 3 portable water tanks that are on trailers that we'll be able to use in the event of a fire. They'll be brought out at the other side of that building. They'll be able to get at those to haul water behind the truck, so they have a supply of water. One of the tankers can be hauled behind a ATV, which there was every person out there seemed to have one, even though the sign said no ATVs.
No ATVs, and they were all over.
And every one of them was driving one, so.
Hey, depends on where you live.
Are you complete?
Yes, that's all I'm adding. That's the only item we have to add, right? There was nothing else, right?
Well, we'll move into county reports, and the first thing I want to do before we go much further is I want to welcome Commissioner Hall. Glad to have you up here, and I think you'll make a great part of the team, and look forward to the next couple of years, and we'll do great things together.
I also want to thank Christy Miller for being a good commissioner for 4 years and being a good steward of the county's money and taking care of the county the way she did. And I want to announce that the audits for 2011 and 2012 are at the state auditor's office. So we are completely caught up on our audits.
And we are no longer on the watch list.
We're not on the watch list anymore, so we're never going to get in that position again. It took about 2 years to get in that position. It took 2 years to get out of it, so we're out of it. So we'll start today with our county planner, Anthony. Go ahead, and I know you got a lot on the table, so I was going to let you go first.
Well, I appreciate the fact that the audits are done. I think that we've missed out on some pretty crucial monies last year because of the audit, and so it's great news. And I guess I'll start out by saying, of course, we will be submitting a CDBG application. I don't know if John wants to talk about the project. I think he's kind of been involved with Representative Martinez a little bit. I can do it, John, if you'd like.
It's up to you.
Well, we'd like.
I get yelled at for talking too much. So go ahead.
But what we're hoping to do was to try and get, and I have these done also, is a capital outlay request for Representative Martinez, and a reauthorization request to use the monies for the lift station that he gave to us last year, $100,000 last year, and hopefully $100,000 again this year, to try and utilize those monies for this building project. And in turn, we will submit a CDBG application for the lift station project out there at Fort Beard. And so it's not necessary, it's not guaranteed, and although Representative Martinez is wanting a guarantee, we'll do everything that we can. We submitted a good application last year. Our project manager told us that it was one of the top applications that they had. The only problem was, of course, with we know it's with the audit. So hopefully we have all the information. The hospital itself is still within the village of Santa Clara, so the purpose will still be with attempting to enhance the infrastructure of the village. So most, if not all, of the information that we submitted last year will be directly utilized for this year's application. So I'm assuming that the application should be a good application again.
And we have, last year, the Bayard Council and Mayor supported us on that project, that when it was done, they would take over ownership and operation of the transfer station, because it would be part of the Tri-City Wastewater Treatment Facility and Transfer Station at that point in time. So we have that information to help us with this, as well as the chairman of the CDBG last year told me that if our audits are in, he'll personally support our project that we turn in, for CDBG to get us funded.
Now, was this a regular CDBG, or did we talk about doing this as a colonias?
We're probably going to submit it as a colonia, since the village of Santa Clara is a colonias, and we probably have a better chance of getting funded through the colonias portion of the CDBG, so that's what we'll go ahead and apply. And once you submit your project, usually your project manager will make those recommendations. If you haven't, or make a recommendation to do something else. And most of the time, they're really good about that. And although Gerald has left now and went to Santa Fe County, and they're a little bit short-handed up there, hopefully we'll be able to get a new project manager soon. Also, I'd like to talk about tomorrow we have a workshop for the Colonias Infrastructure Fund. At this time, we're going to make an application for North Hurdy to try and get a project to put curb and gutter to try and alleviate some of the flooding and drainage issues that we have over there. That road kind of acts as a waterway, and without any drainage or curb and gutter, kind of the way the residents are right up against the roadway, it flows right into those private properties. So we've got some issues in there, and hopefully we can come up with a good project, get a PER done before those things are submitted. But we wanted to get the application first. They've made some changes to the application. go over those tomorrow and see exactly what we need to try and get a good project. That's tomorrow from 9 to noon.
Is it tomorrow or the 10th?
Tomorrow at 9 o'clock?
Is tomorrow the 10th? No. It's Thursday.
Thursday, excuse me.
It's Thursday the 10th. I don't think I'll make it.
Yeah,
Thursday the 10th.
It's Thursday at 10 o'clock. Or 9 o'clock, excuse me, 9 to noon.
So you won't be here to
Thursday the 10th
discuss
at
anything
9.
with us? Okay.
I would like to mention also that we got we do have the survey done for Loma Verde. I took a look at it yesterday with the surveyors. There's one of the roads, Acorn, maybe even name something else now, but we used the submitted plat from the subdivision. And there's some encroachment of the roadway and fences on the actual right-of-way, so that's something we're going to have to address before we make an agreement. There's also some other issues where the road comes right up to the edge of the right-of-way. I think I talked with Earl yesterday. We should be able to make some adjustments to the roadway itself, do some realigning of the roadway, and we should be ready to go. The right-of-way itself, we really didn't have any issues. One of the things, though, I wanted the reason I asked for a survey is we wanted to make sure that the road was where it's supposed to be. On the far side, we found out that the cul-de-sacs aren't in the right place, you know what I mean? So there's going to be some things that we're going to have to fix in order to get the plat where it needs to be. I think overall, I haven't spoke to him as of yet. I wanted to speak to the commission before I spoke to him.
Okay.
But I just received this yesterday. And so I will speak to him.
You don't see any reason why we can't proceed, though?
And I don't think so. I don't think there's any issues. There may be some issues with the fence line from that one property owner. We can visit with the property owner, see if there's any objection, but I spoke with the surveyor and he said the property corner is there. The fence is just in the wrong spot. And so I think that there's going to have to be a request from them. Once we approve this plat, we'll just make the request that they're going to have to move the fence. And we'll do the realignment of the roadway. So that shouldn't be a big issue. But hopefully it won't be a big issue. Also, on Monday, I'll be attending the input group meeting for with ISC for the AWSA projects. We're going to have some discussion on the preliminary economic impact studies that the Bureau of Reclamation has been doing. That should be pretty interesting to see exactly how all the projects the economic impact it's going to have on the community, what the economic feasibility of the projects, whether or not they are economically feasible. They've been doing some work for a couple of months now, and so we'll get some information on that. They've also been doing some feasibility studies on the actual projects, on whether or not they think that they can work, especially on the projects out there, the diversion projects, whether or not they'll be feasible, whether or not that they will have an environmental impact, which usually they do, what type of impact it'll be, those type of things like that. So one of the things that will affect Grant County directly is that we're going to discuss the final scopes of work for the preliminary engineering on the water reuse project. So that's a biggie for us. And hopefully, to this point, everything that we've seen has been positive for all the projects that were submitted after the Tier 2 applications were submitted. Well, we'll have to deal with that issue when it comes. There's a lot of upgrades, but also with the endangered species, I'm actually the chair for the committee for the next plan to come out for the endangered species. I've met in Springerville last time. We're going to have another meeting next month, either here in Silver City or in Socorro. And so I've actually am the head of that committee. I was elected as chairman as for the stakeholders group anyway. So anyway, I think that's what I got for today.
Okay. Thank you very much. You know, we'll talk about last night's meeting at all?
Good if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
We met last night with the, I can't remember the name of the subdivision. Viva Santa Rita subdivision. The people were real receptive, a bunch of nice people out there. We talked about whether or not they may want to enter into a assessment district for the improvements. Earl's going to meet with them today, try and get some estimates on exactly how much it's going to cost. I went out there previously and looked at where the roadway sits in accordance with the right-of-way. Everything seems to be where it's supposed to be. I was able to find enough corners to where I didn't have to actually hire a surveyor to do it, so that'll be a reduction in their overall cost. It seems like the alignment is fine. The subgrade seems to be holding up. There's a few places where we'll have to have some drainage improvements, but overall, it was a very positive meeting. The people were very receptive on the recommendations that we'll make, and so the next step for them is to get a petition going and make sure they have buy-in from the residents.
Okay. Well, thanks, Anthony. Justin, what you been doing?
Chairman Caston, Commissioners, what we've been working on, I talked to Commissioner Ramos about the Fort Bear drainage, and we have some issues on the bottom field that receive a lot of drainage when we get a lot of rain out there in the summertime. So I've had, W8 Pacific has submitted a proposal, and I've also got Engineers Incorporated I met with yesterday, and I got Souder Miller from Las Cruces coming up Friday, so we can take a look at it, so we could try to resolve the issue of the continued drainage or problems that we're having out there at Fort Bear. We've been, fixing a lot of the kinks at the new jail. We've had, they did come down, they fixed a lot of the repairs, the warranty stuff issues that did get fixed. We've been there just helping them out, fixing whatever we needed to do at the new jail. Also, for the senior centers, I've ordered 2 5-ton HVACs for the Member Center and also 2 5-ton HVACs for the Gila Center. That's funding that comes out of the senior programs, the grant money they have for that. We did order those. That was awarded to Sunrays. They're the ones that are going to do that. I'm still waiting for 2 more electricians to give me the bids on electrical work that needs to be done there. I've had one go, already submit one, and I need to waiting for the other 2. We started work, like John said, at the conference center. Now that, it's empty, we don't have nobody in there, so we're going to start repainting the restrooms. We took down the temporary walls that we did have there where the health council was at. We're going to paint the whole interior of the building, since now it's empty and we can move around in there. Don't have to worry about parties coming in every week right now. So we thought it's a good time to, stay inside. It's a little cold outside, so it's a good project for us to stay inside and get some painting done. Also, we did had some gravel put in at Santa Clara Senior Center in the back area. They've had trouble with the mud issues in the past, so we did solve that and take care of that. Also replacing it broke. We had to get it done, so we're purchasing a new door, and also they're going to service the existing doors that we have there, so we won't have continuing issues with those doors out there at the large pavilion. We've also worked on, when we're talking with architect Kevin Robinson about with the front here, we did order the hot wire for the concrete that will be placed in the concrete once we're ready for the project to get started. Also been talking with electricians. We've been taking bids for the electrical work. We're getting all the electricity put to the front from the back, because all their power's in the back, so we're been waiting for all the bids to get into that. And besides that, it's been normal business as usual, keeping up with the salting of the buildings and the little bit of snow that we have. And getting some.
Any questions for Justin? None. Off easy. Earl?
I'm going to keep mine short and sweet. Just business as usual, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I will be back over there at the Convention Center probably the rest of the week. Starting tomorrow, they're ready to do some more milling on that parking lot over there. Everything that's inside the fence they're ready to do, so we'll be over there doing it. I am working down there on Mahogany Drive there off of Rosedale on a low water crossing over there. I've got one more permit that I'm waiting on before I can really get after it. And then probably after that, I'm hoping to maybe jump to the front of the building when we get that done over there. I still haven't received a set of plans for that thing yet. John, you see Kevin.
Mary Alice can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, Maria. What did you miss? Okay. We're working on a low water crossing over there at Mahogany Drive, off of Rosedale. We're installing all the riprap on it right now. And as soon as I receive that other permit, then we're gonna go ahead and start on putting the cement crossing down on it. And then I'm hoping that I can jump over to the front of the building and start on it and do what we can over there. Other than that, I know I've got a little bit of patching to do. We're planning on starting on it next week. And then, other than that, it's just business as usual.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Earl? Okay. Terry, tell us about the senior centers.
Mine will be real short. I just wanted the commissioners to know that our vehicles were ordered probably about mid-December, so we should get them sometime in February. And as far as I know, everything's on schedule. Other than that, it's back to normal. If you have any questions.
Questions for Terry?
I was going to say that Commissioner Ramos will be happy that they're the EcoBoost i6, the smallest, most efficient engine is what Terry chose to buy. So it fits the requirements that Commissioner Ramos has put on us to try and buy more fuel-efficient vehicles. So we did follow the guidelines. There's 6 of them that we've ordered for them.
Terry, is there a need in the rural areas, particularly out of the senior citizen centers, to have, speaking of the buses, to bring some of those people in for shopping and medical reasons?
We have right now in Mingus, we bring them out once a month.
Once a month?
Yes, sir.
Is there a need to do it more often?
We've tried it before, and there's like one person maybe.
But you're doing them with senior citizen vehicles, right? You're not
Yes.
doing it with the Corey company?
No.
Yeah. Well, maybe between the two, we can get a more regular service to those people, because, they're really locked in out there as far as shopping. There's nowhere, like in 3, there's no Cliff, Gila. And I'm sure the members is the same way. The shopping, there's not much out there. We need some way to get them in so that they're taking shopping and, of course, some medical needs. I think that's really important.
Anthony?
Mr. Chairman, with that, actually, when we were doing our public hearings for the CDBG, there were some requests from the Cliff Gila people to have that exact service, so I did.
Especially now the market's closed out there now, right?
Yeah, there's no market out there.
There's nothing there.
Okay. Anything else?
I was just say, when I speak to Kim to see if I can get her here for Thursday, that's a service that through Corey Caminos, they provide a demand service, and it's been growing. So I know they have had instances where people were used to in the past waking up in the morning and saying, hey, I'd like to go to Silver and call the demand service and the bus come and get them. Well, now that service is being utilized more and more, that you've got to schedule things because the buses, they've been having to turn people down because the buses are already out picking people up on demand. So I'll have Kim address that when she comes to the commission so she can let you all know how that's working.
That's a good idea.
We might need to have plans to look at that system and see if we can do it better, or just get the advertising out there so people realize I need to schedule. I can't just call. People have found out the service is there and it's a good service, and I believe it's $2.50 for the first passenger on a demand and the 75 cents for every person after that. So if there's a couple of you in the area, so it's a very cheap service.
And the people I've talked to even said that it's probably too inexpensive, that they would be willing to pay more for that service.
Yeah, and I think what the problem has been, there's been some problems that they've had to turn people away just because of the demand has grown on it, and so you're not able to just call on a whim and get on the service. You've got to start scheduling your trips, and so...
Well, maybe we need to just put a permanent route out there.
That's what I'm talking about. Certainly.
Maybe once in the morning, put something up there.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. We'll move over here to our new treasurer, Steve. Welcome.
Chairman, Commissioners, just want to let you know that we've been diligently processing tax payments. Currently, we're 62% collection of the county's portions of the property taxes. So there's still 38 to collect, which will be probably trickling in between now and the bulk of that will come in right around the 10th of May. So just, if there's any specific information that you would all like to have us present, if there's something that John, needs or whatever, we would be, work with John to provide that information. I know, I want to be more specific to what goes, what the county has coming and what the county has collected at these meetings, and give the municipalities and the school districts their information more or less on a separate, type of format for them. And we are having a little bit of an issue with our system with Tyler that they're working on right now. So that's why I wasn't able to bring the distribution for December. However, these figures do reflect those collections. So, like I said, we are at 62% collection as of today, as of this morning. So, if there's any other questions?
Any questions for Steve?
Just one, Steve. I think one of the important things, sitting out there as I did for a few months, and then in talking to you, one of the things I think it's important to let the citizens know is that many times it'll show the total collections that we have on taxes, and then everyone thinks that's going into the county's pocket. Well, then there's a division of that. And I think it's important to share that with us now and then.
Yeah, well, that's what I was referring to as overall, it still basically boils down to about 60% for everybody that's been collected, just because of the way the taxes come in. So, out of the 12 million that's been billed, approximately 5 million of that is for the county.
Right. So people don't understand that we're actually the collection agency for many other entities throughout the county.
Yeah, and that's why I say my intent is to, when I report the figures, will be specific to the county as far as, like I say, for example, for the operational funds that come in, residential and non-residential, we billed 4.8 million. We've collected about 3 million of that. So there's still 1.8 million outstanding on that. Same thing for the debt service. We billed approximately 881,000. We've collected 544. There's still 337,000 out for debt service specifically.
But I'd just like to see the true picture rather than the rosy picture.
Right. Yeah, well, it's realistic.
Rosy's nice, but
it's realistic for the county.
Any other questions for Steve? Thanks, Steve. Welcome aboard. Look forward to working with you. Mr. Assessor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I want to grab the judge. I'm sorry, I even told him, I said, I can't, forgive if I call him judge. He's over the past 10 to 15 years, I've always called him judge. So, Commissioner Hall, welcome.
Don't call me late to tell.
Yeah, I want to welcome the new treasurer, Steve, working with you. I think one of the things that the commission can look at as well is annually we do the certification and valuation, which I share with the county manager, along with the warrant and abstract. Also, the county manager gets that, and that's broken down into the different entities and what we collect and what they give out, and that's another avenue that the commission can look at as well if they went through the county manager. That's really what John and I do, work well together as far as the valuations are concerned and what's coming in. You can work with him on that. But the thing is, I want to go over real quick is an order that I get every year from Property Tax Division. It's the notice of requirements to report certain matters relating to property valuation and claiming exemptions for all property owners in Grant County. The veteran exemption, if you're a veteran, there's a $4,000 exemption on the taxable value, which is 1/3 of your full value. There's 100% disabled for veterans that do not pay property tax in the state of New Mexico if you're fully disabled. We do not make those decisions. The Veteran Service Commission out of Santa Fe, they send the application into their office and they make the decision. If you're 65 years and older and you own a home, and your income is $32,000 or less, or from everybody living in the household, in other words, there is a lot of grandparents that are raising the grandchildren, and if they're working, that income has to be reported as well. So the total income of the household has to be less than $32,000 to freeze the valuation. So the valuation for 2013, if you qualify, will be the 2012 valuation you had last year. The other thing, there's a misconception about whether if it's in a trust, you do not own the property, so you do not qualify. I get a lot of questions on that annually, so it has to be in the property owner's name in order to qualify. If you own livestock, obviously, you have to report that to the assessor's office every year by the end of February. If you own a manufactured home, that's also required that it's reported to us. One of the reasons for that is because manufactured homes are considered personal property, they're movable, so we want to make sure that our records match what motor vehicle has. There is a 5% penalty put on the tax side in November, but I give the property owners that own manufactured homes enough time. If they call in and make sure all the information is correct, we remove that 5% penalty. Other than that, by order has to be in the newspaper. What I do is I work with Catron County, and it has to be in the newspaper for 1 day for 3 weeks in January. So we both pay for one of the days, and then we split one of the days. So it works well because, as you know, some of the paper are also delivered in Catron County, so I've worked great with them. I'd like to probably work with Mary Alice as well and try to get that same information on. One of the other main issues, and I address this with the clerk and the treasurer, is the addressing. If you've changed your address, please contact all of our offices, or at least one of us, and we can pass it around. It's one of those things where I say this every year, people move and they change their credit cards and all their billing, but they forget that this is an important document as well that comes from the county. So if you've changed your address, please make sure you get that information to either the clerk, the treasurer, or the assessor.
Electronically?
Well, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner Hall. If you just email us, you can get on our webpage and probably send me an email to any of the staff or anybody within the county, I guess, and just forward it to my office or to the treasurer to make those changes. Or they can call us. One of the things about the calls is, anybody can call and say, I want this address changed. So that's a little difficult. Same with email, but you just have to trust that people are just, whether you pay the tax bill or not doesn't mean you own the property. The legal documents recorded in the clerk's office, and that's what we go on. But just try to get that out to the public, that if you have an address change, please let us know, because we get that every year, whether it's election time, whether it's tax bill time, or whether it's the assessor's notice of value that goes on in April. What I didn't receive it. And so we get that a lot from all of our offices, and it's just, something that people just, forget that the county also sends out information through the mail. So I'd like to thank my staff. I think we're moving forward. I'm working on a reappraisal plan right now for 2013, and I present that to the commission as well sometime in April around budget time. And so, but my staff has really worked hard. We're taking sections of the county and trying to concentrate on those areas and do it's a 4-year plan that I put together last year, and we're on the 2nd year of it now, of trying to get, all of our data that's correct of what's out there is what's on our records in the assessor's office. So I want to thank everybody, wish everybody Happy New Year. Unless you have any questions, that's all I have.
I just wanted to ask Randy, at our meeting last night, it was brought up, if we go do an improvement district to improve the roads, they asked if your department would come out and then reappraise their properties and bring their values up, and my response to them was that doesn't trigger that, but having a better road should increase their property values, that when they sell it, then the value will come up on the book higher. But your office doesn't go wherever we do improvement districts and then automatically jack up the tax.
No, sir, Mr. Chairman and John, that's true. It doesn't have anything to do with the value. The valuation is based on the market analysis, and so whether you have a proven road, if houses are selling at X amount of dollars with a road that you can't get through, well, that's what the value is going to be. If the sales with the improved road are the same, the value is going to be the same. But I agree with you on that. But obviously, if you had a better access and better roads and curbs and gutters and the whole 9 yards, and obviously the property value when you go to market with it's going to be more.
But yeah, it doesn't trigger us to go out and view. We're doing it anyway now. There have been some sales in some of those areas that we've been talking about, and they're good sales. And so I think it just improves it more with, with the infrastructure improvement.
Anything else? Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Over the holiday weekend, holiday season, actually, it was fairly busy for us. We had a lot going on. There's a lot of several incidents that happened. But what I want to report is I want to go over our stats for the last 2 years, which was 2011, 2012. In 2011, we had 3,667 calls for service. In 2012, it went up to 4,006 calls for service, which is a 9% increase. We took 1,593 reports in 11, 1,830 reports in 12, which is a 15% increase. In 11, we investigated 256 motor vehicle collisions. In 12, we did 266, which is a 4% increase. As you can see, the trend of calls is going up. Unfortunately, there's been a lot going on. Currently, right now, we're working a lot of burglaries. We're getting hit quite a bit throughout the county. It's not just certain areas. The city's getting hit, the municipalities, the county. We have a lot of leads. We have suspects that we're working on. We have made an arrest on one of them. We're hoping to tie it all in together. We're still wondering what's going on, if it's outside people coming in. But we're working with it. We're dealing with it. I have a good staff that's been working these cases, and as a matter of fact, yesterday we had one up in the Whispering Hills area that we have suspects on, but they're hitting us during the daytime. So I want to ask the people to be observant during the day. If you see somebody suspicious, especially carrying items or even just driving around that don't belong in the area, to please call us. Yesterday we had some observant neighbors that reported these individuals, so we recovered a lot of the stolen firearms that actually were stolen yesterday. So we're following up on leads, but I encourage the public to really help us. We are a little bit shorthanded. I've hired 4 people, replacing some that have left. So unfortunately, I had 2 of them that got hired are in the academy, so they won't be out until June. They'll be going to the academy. So we're doing everything that we can. I ask the public to please help us. Other than that, I have also, our civil division was extremely busy the last couple years. We had an increase in our documents that were served by civil process division, an increase of documents that were served. We had a 39% increase on that. And as far as miles traveled from our civil division alone, going to and from prisons and jails and different areas, picking up inmates that are arrested in other states, we had an increase of 57% on mileage for the deputies that are working in civil. So, I mean, our office has been extremely busy, and I ask the citizens to bear with us, and we get to them as quick as we can, and actually things have been going good other than that. And I'd like to thank my staff, because they've been doing a really good job with the shortness that we've had on staff. So, I commend them for the work that they do. Other than that, I have nothing else to report unless you have any questions.
Any questions for the Sheriff? Yes, sir.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, members of, just real quick, I forgot to, if you're a veteran or a disabled vet and you already existingly have the exemption, it will automatically carry over, so you don't have to apply for that. The 65 years and older, you do annually. So I want to make that clear, because I'll get a lot of calls.
Sheriff, I wanted to ask you, if I may, sir, I wanted to ask you, do we have a neighborhood watch program? I had someone ask me the other day, and I said I didn't really know. I knew that I'd seen Officer Flam, or Captain Flam, doing it, but I didn't know if he was still doing it or not.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Hall, yes, sir. We do have a neighborhood watch up in that area that is very active, and I think that has been beneficial to us. The gentleman that oversees that neighborhood watch program actually sends emails all the time through the residents that come to us, and that's how we know what's going on in that neighborhood. There's several neighborhoods that we've established within these last couple of years, and that is very beneficial. So I encourage anybody else that would like to start one in their neighborhood to please contact us, and we'll get them in the right direction, and we'll be involved with their neighborhood one.
I agree with you 100%. That's a lot more eyes and ears out there, and then reporting back to you is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Rob?
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. I don't have a report this morning. I just do want to welcome the new treasurer. And Commissioner Hall, welcome. I know you have some difficult shoes to fill. I heard Hay Hills are pretty hard to walk in, so welcome to the team.
Doing well.
And I lowered my chair. Oh.
Got some twisted ankles.
I thought you said he didn't say much. What he said.
Very important. Okay, John. I just wanted to let everybody know next week we'll be attending the New Mexico Association of Counties meetings in Santa Fe. They coincide with the legislative session opening. Most of the electeds will be there. Some of my directors will be there attending. The commissioners will be there in attendance. So those meetings happen where we get together with the other 33 counties and discuss what goes together with us. We don't conduct any county business, so even though all 3 commissioners will be there, we will not be conducting county business. It'll be to attend trainings and meetings and also attend the legislative session as we kick off. So that's where we'll be next week, most of us, for those meetings up there, and then we'll be back, and then we have other meetings going back and forth. The county's reserved a room for the session, the 60 days that we'll be sharing going up there. I think right now, looking at it, the chairman and I looked at it the other day, and the first 4 weeks, there's events happening up there in Santa Fe that will require us to be up there almost the first 4 weeks of session, almost Monday through Friday almost is what it seems like. And then what we've also done, we had a meeting with the town of Silver City, Freeport-McMoran, Grant County, and Western New Mexico University, that we've started a group for Grant County that we'll have a conference call every Monday to talk about what's going on this week in the session up there, where bills are for us, important things to look at. So we'll have more people concentrating on the area. We'll be a joint effort looking at it instead of us all independently. If we're not in Santa Fe, then we'll attend by conference call to this meeting, whoever's not up there. And so it'll really help out, I think, to let us know, do we need to go up for a hearing? Or is there someone there that we don't have to travel, that Dr. Shepard may be there and he can go handle testifying at the hearing for us? So it'll really help reduce our costs in that respect in being gone as much. So I think that'll be a really good thing. It's something we've never done before, and we're trying it out this year between all of us, see if we can't bring home some more money to Grant County and not have policy changes that affect us. You know, that the policy changes we need go through, and the ones that are going to take away money from us don't. We can get those stopped, so that'll be something good.
Have we ever hired our own lobbyist?
We tried at one time, and we kind of spoke with a gentleman up in Albuquerque when we went for the Better Informed Public Official Training. The Commissioner Hall, myself, and Chairman Kasten and Abby Robinson attended. It's really hard because you can't afford a lobbyist that just works for you, because the cost is so expensive. And so you get a portion of somebody's time, and so you're splitting one person in between several hearings, and they might not, the group they're working for might not have the same priorities. So it just didn't really work out for us. We've talked to an individual. We're going to talk to him some more to see if there's a possibility of doing something again this year. But that was, we were going to, we did, the time we did it, we did partner with the town of Silver City with somebody, but you're not paying for that person's 100% of that person's time. They're always, the lobbyists are always working for many people
And so you're still getting put in line with if somebody, I guess, is paying more of the bill to be the lobbyist, their issue comes up, they get the 100% of attention of the person, and you get kind of put on the back, and so we ended up supplementing a lot.
They only work for one person.
No, exactly.
The lobbyists are making their money because they know how to get things done.
Yeah, so that's what we've had in the past. We've spoke to an individual, we're going to speak to him some more and see if that's needed, but that's kind of what, talking about this thing with Grant County, Silver City, Western, and Freeport, we're trying to help each other out in that respect, is because we know we can't all afford our own individual lobbyists, and together we can't afford an independent lobbyist by ourselves, that we still would get our time separated. So, but we had some good conversations with the gentleman in Albuquerque, and we're going to carry forward with them. I just need to speak with the chairman and see how we want to proceed. And then with us renting the room, we'll be up there a little more, and where we haven't done that in the past too, is trying to have presence up there, because we know this is going to be a rough session.
Normally, when you're looking for a lobbyist, you're looking for somebody that's lobbying for an industry that is totally different from what you're lobbying for. And what we're finding out is those people that lobby for other industries and other things have no knowledge whatsoever of county government. So we'd be paying not only for the lobbyists, we'd be paying for their learning curve. So that's kind of where the holdup is, because the people we're talking to are lobbying for other counties or other municipalities. And we're finding that there may be conflicts. So we're just trying to work through those.
Yeah. We're trying to do something.
Anything else, John?
I think that's it.
Commissioner Ramos?
Yes, sir. First of all, welcome, Commissioner Hall. And our treasurer, Steve. Welcome aboard. That's a big curve for me. I've always called you Judge Hall. But welcome aboard. Looking forward to working with both of you. I think we're going to have a good, at least for our next 2 years, I think we're going to do real well together. Also, I wanted to see if we can invite the Forest Service to come in and give us a presentation on their travel management. I know there's been some changes made, and I think it'd be a good opportunity to have the public ask questions on what they're proposing. I know the proposal is supposed to be coming in March sometime, so or the decision is supposed to be made in March sometime. So we would really like for you to go ahead and invite them to give us a presentation. Hopefully it'll be a good presentation too, where they can put it up on our screen here, and the public could ask questions on where the camping area is going to be, what roads are going to be shut down. I know that they were leaning towards G on the item list. The proposals.
Most restrictive, I believe.
Well, is a second.
Yeah.
So if we can do that, I know I've been bombarded with questions, and so if these people have questions that are knocking on our doors and talking to us at Walmart, I know a lot of the public have questions. You know, I know when this travel management first started, you talk to people out there and said, this is never going to happen. They're never going to close our roads. There's no way. It's just environmental groups trying to get things done that way. Well, you know what? It's going to happen.
It happened in Santa Fe.
It's already happened in Santa Fe. There's already a lot of lawsuits in Santa Fe over travel management. So, I mean, our county has to open their eyes and see, you know, we need more public involvement. We need, the public needs to be heard. They need to come out and let people know how they really feel. I know the majority of the people here that I've talked to in local areas state that they want to keep their roads. And so I know that we're representing the majority of our people out here when I stand for that. I really feel that, you know, by having them come in, they can put some closure to some of these questions and get this done.
Well, that was what I wanted to mention, is for February, what we'll do is the meetings will be the 19th and 21st because of the session and because of everybody's schedules. That will be our meeting in February 19th, be a Tuesday, 21st, Thursday. So what we'll do is we'll try and get them in here for the 21st meeting in February. Anthony can go ahead and contact them. I believe her name is Lisa is who's been the spokesman for the group of that. She's kind of been put in charge of it there. So he can contact her.
They're slated for implementation on the 31st of March.
Well, the decision is the 31st, and then
June and July.
I think it's July 23rd is the paper that Commissioner Ramos had, is when July of 2013 is when it's supposed to be implemented, is the expected implementation. Which, those were sliding a lot, and what we've seen in the last report, they didn't slide. They've kind of stayed. So they might have finally decided they're going to do something since Santa Fe did. But we will definitely contact them and have them here, try and get them here for the 21st of February meeting.
Well, again, I encourage people to get involved and let us hear from you. We've got everyone that asks questions on it has some really good, valid questions, and we try to give them the answers. So I think by having them come in, it's going to be really good for the whole community. I don't know what to say, but we're getting really close to the decision time, and we've got to get things done and let the people know what is going on. That's it. And also, I'm sorry? Oh, we're not going to have a Southwest Commissioner Alliance meeting up in Santa Fe. We have some commissioners that couldn't make the actual meetings up there, so they won't be showing up, so I don't think we'll have a quorum. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up another date, and we'll definitely publicize it. Anything else there on that? And I believe that's it for me, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Hall, anything for the good of the commission?
Well, first of all, I want to thank, certainly the voters for putting me in this position, and I hope that your vote of confidence is put well. We're going to work hard at it. I want to thank John and Abby to starting me out since I was elected. You guys have been in my corner trying to bring me up to date on what I need to know and you've given me a lot of reading to do, all right? And of course, I've always gone to the experts in this, and that's the setting commissioners, Chairman Caston and Ramos. I appreciate your support that you've given me since I've been elected. Any questions I've had, I've come to you and talked to you, and you've helped me out. And then to the staff, you guys are great. I tell you what, I've visited a lot of you and talked to you, and you're going to make my job a lot easier because you're very well qualified in where you're at. That includes the staff and the elected officials. I just want to thank you. I think one of the things that's important to me, and of course it's easier for me than that I don't work, is being in contact with the citizens. And for that reason, I'm going to try to I am going to be available to you, and we're going to start out with a plan of every second. Anytime the commission has a work session, I will be available in my office. That's here in the admin building after the meeting until 4 p.m. except for lunch or otherwise advised. There's going to be sometimes we may have a field trip I may have to take, or I may have to leave, but most of the time I'll be here. And if you would call our executive assistant, Randy Hernandez, at 574-0006, or come to Randy's office and set up an appointment, I'd appreciate it, so that I don't have a lot of people waiting out there for a large sum of time. So, once again, I want to thank you, and I'm looking forward to serving the public.
Thank you very much. Okay, I've already said what I had to say earlier, so at this time, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passed.